Welcome to the official Lakes International Comic Art Festival podcast. My name's Ian.
And my name's Nikki, bringing you the best in comics and graphic novels and updates from the festival.
Welcome to the Lakes International Comic Art Festival, episode 29. Well, we messed that one up. That's our first time in a while. My name's Ian.
Not. And I'm Nikki.
There we go. We're there. We've done it. We're rocking and rolling now.
Are we keeping that?
Yes, we're keeping that.
Okay.
Why not?
There's a lot of reasons, isn't there?
We're back.
We are.
We've got Zoom Rockman on this episode.
We have.
But also, we've got a big review episode.
We have.
We are reviewing loads of books. Also,
I'm touching them.
Mike and Pete have also done.
They've done reviews
their
as well.
reviews as well, making out like we forced them.
I know. Podcast bosses.
Evil Pete.
Yeah.
Evil Pete. Pete from Wales.
Don't say that. It will stop helping us.
Love you, Pete.
Love you.
He has been a star, actually, but we'll talk about that later on in the episode as to why he's been a star.
Because he shines at night.
I don't know what to say. Okay, so a bit of news first of all. Myriad. Wonderful Myriad. They've announced their shortlist for the first graphic novel competition. So we have got Kathy Brett, who killed Jojo. That's a book. Saber Khan, Pluralism. Clary Pope and Blanche Pope, Welcome Home. I'm guessing sisters. Jenny Robbins, Biscuits, in brackets assorted. Zara Slattery, Coma Comic. Anna Trench, Ezra Stoneley, and Sarah Ursher, Persevere. So, yeah, all women.
Yes. That's all right, though, isn't
it?
Yeah. Come on, us girls.
Well, I think girls, a lot of the time, they do create these really deep interest in books. They go a different way sometimes.
We approach it a different way, I think.
So, yeah, looking forward to seeing who comes top. But well done to all of them for actually getting a shortlist. So, I mean, that alone
it's
sort
brilliant.
of gives you something to shout out about. And I'm sure some of the shortlisted ones previous have got contracts anyway from it. So well done. Brilliant. The other thing, quick one. We've had an email from Mayamada, the UK, to say their Kickstarter for Hot Lunch 2 is now up.
Yes.
So go and check that out as well.
They're quite, because we've got Joe.
We've got to read that yet. That's not included today, unfortunately.
No, it's not, because he hasn't finished it, and I haven't got my little hands on it yet. But the whole series of those books look fun and funky.
No, exactly. Right, so let's get into it. Let's get some reviews done.
Do it.
Before we do the comics, let's do a movie.
Okay.
Deadpool 2.
Yes.
We went to see Deadpool 2.
It's
been out. We really enjoyed Deadpool 1.
Deadpool 1 is my favourite all-time superhero film ever.
Ever. So, what did you like about Deadpool 1?
I liked... It was so tongue-in-cheek, so taking the mickey out of the industry. The action was fun and full-on, and it just hit all the right buttons for me. I don't like anything too emotional, because I don't want... I want fun. I want to leave my brain at the door and laugh. With
Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. Now, if you've not seen anything about Deadpool, then he's a character that breaks that wall. He refers to everything within the environment, and it's a very comedic character that sits within the X-Men universe in particular very well, and he brings something different to that universe.
Yeah, and in the comics he breaks the fourth wall, he does all this. He's out there as a character. He's a brilliant
his superpowers are he doesn't die, and he's strong and everything. He's basically the ultimate superhero in some ways, but his attitude and personality stops him being the hero he could be.
He's the anti-hero.
Yeah. So Deadpool 2. The story is essentially he's got to save a kid from the future wielding Cable.
Russell.
Yes, Russell.
Russell.
And that is the main story. It's all about saving this kid, pulling a team of mutants together called the X-Force, which we will not talk any further about. But there's some brilliant characters. There's some brilliant characters in that. And going and stopping Cable, who is played brilliantly.
Yes.
By Josh Brolin.
By Thanos.
Absolutely brilliant. and he looks right.
He does,
actually. It could be a bit bigger, but there's no way of doing that without CG, so it's as good as he's going to get.
And they've CG'd the arm and everything.
So, it's as good as he's going to get, I think, to a Cable. And the story as a whole is fine. I think the base storyline
story, isn't it? Yeah,
is fine. But I feel there was something missing.
Yes. It didn't... It's a good superhero movie.
Yes.
It's not a good Deadpool movie. That's, I think, the easiest way to say it. Because it follows the line of every other superhero movie you've seen, really.
I mean, the first one did a little bit, like the ending, when you got to the end, it was like a standard superhero boss battle.
Yes, but that was fine. And there was still, funny moments put in there. And I found the funny moments were more inserted than a flowing funny film. Do you know what I mean? They inserted them at certain points. And I just feel the first one was more organic in the whole breaking of the fourth wall and everything else and just being so over the top. And this one I felt they inserted it. It's not a bad film.
Could it be because that felt original, whereas this obviously isn't now? It's the second time round.
Well, no, you know what you're expecting with the second one, but it felt forced.
Okay.
And that was a shame. Like I said, it's a good film.
The side characters were sort of taken out a lot.
Yeah.
Which I'd rather, instead of doing that, I'd rather just not be in the film. That's the way I look at things like that.
Yeah, if you're going to not really focus on them at all.
Get rid of them. Don't have them in. There's no need. With Deadpool, you don't need to have them in because he can just say, sod it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
No.
So that sort of,
Yeah.
It felt like they were trying to force them in just for the sake of they were in the first film.
Yes.
So it's worth seeing.
Oh, yeah, it's a good film.
But it's not Deadpool 1.
No.
Although people will disagree with us.
I know. I think it's turned out to be slightly of a Marmite film, isn't it? You either love it or hate it.
Well, we don't hate it.
Well, no, I don't hate it. It just didn't... It wasn't a Deadpool film.
Well, it was Deadpool 2, title.
Well, I came out, I was a bit disappointed. And it made me cry.
It's a little bit emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't want that from a Deadpool film.
No, we don't want that. So, let's get down to some comic talk.
Do it.
Where do we want to start? Let's do... Well, no, because we've got one that's via print. The Awesome Comics... the Awesome Comics Comic 2.
Well done.
That's not actually a title, though, is it? I'm just opening it up to remind myself. It's just the Awesome Comics Volume 2.
Yes.
The first volume we talked about quite a few episodes ago, and it's an anthology comic. So you've got Murder Road by Vincent Hunt and Daniel Mark Chant. You've got Cockney Kung Fu, Tony Esmond and Nick Prolix, and Viper, all by Dan Butcher. They are very 80s inspired stories.
Which is a good thing.
Oh, it is a good thing. They feel like they are from the 80s movies, action movies, in very much the way. So you've got Murder Road, which is about a killer car. Why are you giggling?
I love that.
It does. That is probably the most Stephen King feel, I suppose.
Yes.
It's got a good Stephen King feeler behind it in the way it works. Now, the story in the second one, it does change it a little bit. Because it's not quite what you think. Well, not quite the way I thought it was going to go.
Okay, which is good.
But still very enjoyable.
Have a twist in it.
Then you got Cockney Kung Fu, which is, I'm trying to think of, it feels, best way to do it is like I'm relating it all to films here. What's the guy that did Snatch and stuff? It's like if he created a female, Guy Ritchie. If he created a female.
I was playing bits out of Snatch there. I had, well, that's going to help.
If he created a female main character, which he never did because he was always, tough guys.
All right.
I think that would suit.
She'd talk like me as well, wouldn't she?
And then you got Viper, which to me is very much an 80s TV series.
Yes.
Street Hawk or... Not Knight Rider, but more Street Hawk, that style, a bit more seriousness.
A bit more gritty.
Yeah. But again, brilliant artwork all around by all of the team. Brilliant stories. I'm not going to go into the stories because I'll end up ruining them now, the second part.
Don't.
But go and check it out because it's only a couple of quid again. I wish I'm going to have to get print versions of these because we've only got digital. But yeah, go and check that out.
Yeah.
Next one.
Go on.
Death and Glory.
Woo!
Death or Glory.
I've got it here. Death or Glory.
So this is issue 1 of a new series. It's just started. Written and created by Remender and Bengal. It's, first of all, the artwork on the front cover. I think that's what pulled me into this.
It's beautiful.
It is absolutely gorgeous. Very clear.
It reminded me of Mirror's Edge a bit.
Yeah.
In that kind of style.
Yeah, without the colour fashion, but yeah, the style itself, I definitely agree with. Do you want to give us a quick rundown on the story?
Well. You're following it where you've got... I hate doing this on the thing without... Yes. So you've got a girl who she's got... It's not her father, but she's got someone who's very ill. And because they're living outside of the whole... of the grid, really, aren't they? They're not on any lists. They're not on any social media. Everything is gone. And obviously she can't get the medical help he needs. So she decides to rob. Yeah. It's that kind of... Well, the first one is that kind of start where she goes off to...
Almost like the first Spider-Man story or first Batman story where she's just not very good at it.
No, it all goes wrong. It completely goes wrong. And then she's got this added complication. I won't say anymore. No. But there's an added complication at the end, which obviously leads into issue 2.
Yeah.
Which has twisted it even more. I mean, bless her. She's up to her eyeballs in it now.
She's got this completely awesome car.
Actually, amazing car.
Been just
Zooped
tough,
up, yeah.
essentially.
Yeah,
isn't
it's a tough car.
Which, again, it just leads into it just going on to do that. You don't know what she's going to do, which is really interesting.
Yes.
It doesn't explain it. It just says, right.
I hope it comes back to give a bit of backstory
as to
why these people... Because it's always like a gang of... There's a community of them, basically, isn't there? As to why they're...
It's got a good baddie as well, who kills straight away. He's evil.
Yeah, he's with his special gun.
Well, you can say because it does it right at the beginning. It's like it freezes.
It freezes you, and so that all goes. Bless her again. Goes all wrong for her.
But she seems a very sexy character as well. I like the style of her. It's very sexy.
You think she's sexy?
Yeah.
She
Am I
comes
just wrong
across
in saying
sassy. No, I think she's more sassy.
Okay.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with you finding a character sexy.
But yeah, I'd say go and pick it up. The first issue is really thick as well. It's cool. So we're going to follow on this story. Really enjoying it. And the art, as I say, the art just stands out. It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Really is gorgeous.
And like I say, it leaves you on a proper cliffhanger.
Yeah, definitely. Little Girl Black. Now, you've not read this one.
I haven't read this one because I get scared by scary things.
So it's scripted by James McCulloch, who we met up at Carlisle.
He seems so nice
and then
to produce something like this. So nice.
The art's Pedro Mendez and the cover is Al Reed on this particular copy. So it says on the front, mature readers only. Mm-hmm. It's mature readers only. This really is a dark...
There's enough warnings.
Horrible. And it is a story... It's a story of a guy who has entrapped some girls in his basement. And he is...
Already you know that's not going to have a happy ending.
and he's obviously a sicko. And if they don't do what he desires or what pleases him for his little family, he will happily kill them and replace them with somebody else. And it's a story of how these young girls deal with it. This particular one, new girl who comes into the equation. How they survive, and then obviously what goes on from there. It is definitely dark. It is horror movie is a good way to look at it. And it does make you squirm at times. You know, whoa, that's heavy. But it's worth giving a go. It really is. If you're wanting to try something really dark, and you know, the ending is what it is. It's a good ending.
Oh, God.
No, I don't want to ruin it.
No, don't ruin it, because that kind of...
The ending makes it worth reading. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to talk about because it is so dark, but I think it's well worth giving it a read if you want something a bit more dark in there. But you won't read it, will you?
No.
You're scared of reading it because of little girls, little kids.
Oh, I just don't like anything when there's, like, people getting into trouble.
What do you mean?
Scary. When it's scary. I'll be like, come on, children, get away.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, no, I can't.
Which is probably a good thing about the book. The book is doing what it needs to do.
Yes.
And it is a horror book, so go and check it out.
I'm not good with horror.
We've got quite a bit of stuff from James McCulloch, which we want to read through over time. And all his stuff is generally a darker feel to it.
He's such a nice man.
You can also find a lot of it on Comic House app as well. So if you want to get it on there, go and have a look. Dip your toe in, yeah, go and read some of it on there. I don't think Little Girl Black's on there, but some of his other comics are, so go and have a look. Mm-hmm. Well worth it. A very quick one that we found at Oldham Comic Con. Stranglehood by Lee Overton and PXD. It's
mad.
It's a very short little comic, and he said that when we picked it up, but I just loved the name, Stranglehood.
Yeah.
And it is about a hoodie that strangles people.
I think that's all you need to say.
That is all we need to say. If you see these guys at the table, just go and grab it. I think it was £1.
£1, yeah.
Yeah, it's the art's really beautiful, the way they've done the dark. It's black and white, and then the hoodie is in red
yeah.
and the colours stand out. It's a simple, basic comic, but I loved it.
It's mad.
I absolutely loved it. It's just silly.
It's one of those you put down and chuckle.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about it.
And it's more, where could he go with this?
It's more like, where is it now?
So go and have a look at that. That's a quick one on that, because it is only a short thing, but it's well worth going and reading.
Yep.
Right. We need to say a few things about this first. The next comic, one of the creators is Pete Taylor.
It is.
So we are talking about this.
So we have to be nice.
Well, no.
No, I'm joking.
We have to say that even though Pete Taylor's involved, we're talking about this in our own opinion. Just because he's part of the show doesn't make a difference. We've told him how rubbish it is. No, I'm joking. So I just wanted to bring that out there first of all. So we backed recently Copperopolis, issue 3.
I can't even say it.
Copperopolis. But we also got the first 2 issues with it as well as part, because we've not read any of them. So we thought we might as well give the whole wing bang a go. So this is a comic created by Team. All in Swansea. And what's different about this is, rather than them just taking a quarter of the story to draw or whatever, they've all done individual pages. So Pete's taken a couple, then a couple later. So the story's constantly shifting in artwork as you read it, which I've not had seen. I'm sure it's been done before, but I've not seen it personally before. It makes
it different to read. It's can be quite challenging to get used to it.
So let's go through all the names first. So it's written by Ricky Webber and Adam Wilmot. You got cover by Lee Phillips and Mark Hughes, and they've also done the pages, as well as Pete Taylor, Mark Tranter, Nigel Evans. I think I'm there. So they're the...
Who's I'm there?
Swansea Comics Collective, as a group, they're known as. So the story is about 2 gods. They're all sort of based in Wales.
Wales. So all the gods are based.
And the name's based on the copper mining heritage within Swansea, just to make a point. Who used to fight long ago, and the first comic's all about the battle between these 2 guys. And I mean, it is a battle. And the whole story is that, and it's super. I love it actually, because some of the characters, or the art of these 2 giants is really cool. I love it. They battle, and then one of them wins.
That's usually what happens.
Usual. But then the power between them then starts leaking out. Right. And then superheroes come from that. I say superheroes. People with powers come from that. And then it's a story continuing about the people with these powers and what they get up to and where they go from there. And it's good guys, bad guys as well from that as well.
We like that.
It's all set around Swansea. So it's very much Welsh, heritage, and there's a lot of links in there, which I really like. And they've really focused on bringing, I suppose, what they grew up with. Yeah. The area
what
they grew up with into the comics. And I really have enjoyed it. I love the styles, the different art styles throughout the comics. It's brilliant. So it's well worth going and checking out. I think Pete Taylor's website, you can get the digital versions and probably some print versions as well. I'm not sure if they've got all print versions available, but it's well going and have a look. So yeah, really enjoyed Copperopolis. So go and check it out. It is Swansea's favourite comic since 2013.
I don't know where the evidence is to back that up, but we'll believe them.
We've got nothing to argue. We can't argue that point. No. We can't argue that point. The final book we got today is Apollo. Now, this just came through from Self-Made Hero. I think it's out very shortly.
I love the cover. The
cover has been sort of pushing around Twitter for a while, hasn't it? And it really does stand out. Do you want to explain?
It's so simple.
Yeah.
It is just a astronaut falling. I think he's falling. And then you've got in the stars, very faint stars, you've got the American flag. So, are you looking because you didn't notice that?
I didn't notice the flag. I didn't notice. I've always focused on the astronaut.
Did you not see that?
No.
It's clever, isn't it?
Yeah. That's even cleverer than I thought.
See?
This is by writing team Matt Finch and Chris Baker, based in the UK. Also involved Mike Collins, Ian Sharman, Chris Carter, and Jason Cardy. Do you want to give us a quick overview on the book?
Well, it's about the Apollo
there we go.
mission to the moon. But it takes a different turn, doesn't it?
It does.
I think it does. It looks at a more personal of each person involved. And I like that.
So you've got the main story going through.
Yes, that's running, but that's not the important bit.
No, in a way, that's just
That's
linking
just
it together in some ways.
Yeah, it's the people, the actual people. I particularly like who gets left up in the command module. And he has that dream hallucination type sequence with the moon, talking to the moon. I love that. That was like totally out there. So it looks at a more personal version. And
so it sort of looks at their past, doesn't it, as
yes,
well as it's
yes,
going through. So it jumps between being on the moon
to the bit you all know about, like from the not the film, from the TV, from the film.
Real life thing.
Film. From the news film, the bits you know and the wording you know to them as individuals, and it's like I say, it's a more personal journey that way.
The artwork has got a very sort of, I say, pop feel to it.
You thought more pop. I thought more kind of not encyclopedic, but it kind of off, not quite a picture, as in it's been taken off a photo, but kind of scientific almost in its art style, and I like
realism.
That.
I suppose. Is
yes,
a good
yeah.
But it's obviously a comic. If that, it's not too realistic over the top. But no, really enjoy it. It's a beautiful book. I think there's the best thing you can say about it as well. It really is, and the story is an important one. Let's be honest. It's a very important story, and to get to know these guys, who they are, not just astronauts. Not just the first man who did this, such and such.
Well, and you learn about the others because, we all know about Buzz Aldrin and that, and you think you do. But you don't necessarily know the other people in there.
Unless you've looked into it personally. No, you wouldn't, would you?
Well, I love space and everything to do with space. So this really, really fitted the bill for me. But I didn't ever look too much into the moon landing because you think you know it all. You've seen the footage. You've done, you don't think any further than what you've seen. And this makes you think about the people more.
So check that out. It's Apollo, published by Self-Made Hero. Okay, so let's get some other guys on the show. You've heard enough of us for now. Mike, Pete and Zoom Rockman.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. One thing I'll say about the Zoom's interview, I kept thinking he'd finished. And then he came out with more stuff that he's doing at
Which
the
is
moment.
amazing, yeah.
He's doing so much this year, and this is just this year.
I know.
And I thought he'd finished talking about it, and he came out with something else. So it feels like I'm trying to close the interview at times.
Yeah, but he's
Zoom's
not.
got so much more to say, so I apologise for that. But listen to it, because he's got so much going on this year, never mind what he's achieved through the past 10 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Mike's Mutterings.
Hello and welcome again to Mike's Mutterings. This episode, Ian and Nikki informed me that they were doing a big review episode, so they invited me to join in. I started writing this in the lovely peace and quiet of the royal wedding day, safe in the knowledge that all TV, radio and internet will remain safely off. But it still crept into my consciousness, and in honour I will be reviewing something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Don't worry about the last one, I'll endeavour to keep this PG rated. Maybe 15. So, first up is something old. I've been reading and collecting comics a long time now, so inevitably there are ones that get away. And I do walk around with a list in my wallet so I can check at any time for missing issues or things that I noted down that I liked the sound of but never found. 2 episodes back I mentioned I'd finally got hold of all 3 omnibus volumes of Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Dark Horse started that series back in '95, and the popularity pushed it to run to 35 issues. In 2006 they collected everything into 3 omnibus volumes that have been pretty much out of print since. So, the story continues directly on from Return of the Jedi and the destruction of the second Death Star. We follow the infamous Wedge Antilles and his band of elite X-Wing fighters, designated Rogue Squadron. They're basically a special ops force for the rebellion. The various missions they undertake are all centred around the immediate fallout of the Empire's collapse. Certain Imperial factions continue fighting regardless. Many don't believe the Battle of Endor even happened. The power gulf left by Jabba the Hutt's demise on Tatooine also causes chaos, and there's rumours of a cache of Imperial weapons. It also covers the stories of key characters, famous ones like Princess Leia, or notoriously obscure favourites for fans like Baron Fell, the TIE fighter race. The list of writers, artists, inkers, colourists, letterers, it's endless, and results in a real myriad of writing styles and giving the many stories different tones and pace. The series is an important piece of the Star Wars journey and really stands up today. I don't think any of it has been broken by the recent film trilogy canon. Seems unfair of me to extol the virtues of a hard-to-find set of books, but I'm sure we'll see a new reprint sometime, and in the meantime, it's always fun to have something to hunt for. My something new is the Aliens Dead Orbit graphic novel, which collects all 4 issues. Unusually for a Dark Horse Aliens comic, this is the work of a single person, James Stocko, who does the writing, artwork, colouring and lettering. It does have a really good opening of frantic running through claustrophobic corridors, which slowly moves to an exterior shot of the orbiting way station Sphacteria. It's damaged beyond repair and disintegrating rapidly and surrounded by debris. We then jump to the beginning of the story. Now, whenever writers illustrate too, you do get quite a cinematic feel, and the story's place in the Aliens universe is a comfortable one. The look and feel is just right. We have a hard-working crew on a fuel depot way station who reluctantly respond to an unknown and dead-looking ship that's approaching them rapidly. I won't go further for fear of spoilers, but I have to admit what follows does seem somewhat familiar. It's not groundbreaking, but the story is told very well, and as I mentioned earlier, it has a very cinematic look and feel to it. Dual writer-artist duties normally work well, and while we tread familiar ground, it was a worthy purchase, and I do look forward to the next series. And now onto something borrowed. It's Jason Aaron and Jason Latour's good old boy romp, Southern Bastards. I've been meaning to catch up with this for a while now after I watched Jason Latour drawing live at last year's End of Festival. While drawing, he told some great anecdotes about his Southern roots and what Southern Bastards meant to him. The artwork is astounding. I'll start with that because it's a good enough reason to buy it right there. The gritty story demands a hard style, and character expressions are key. The point of view angles shift quickly, and clever panel layout makes the story really bounce along as you're reading it. And it's a really good story. Jason Aaron gives us Earl Tubb, returning home as an old man, a home that he doesn't recognise anymore. This is the deep American South, where whose boy you were or what high school football record you have counts for everything. Earl left after burying his sheriff father, and returns to find the vacuum of law and order that has been filled by petty and cruel people. It's all about capturing the worst of the South, and instilling fear and the ever threat of violence. Standing up to corruption Clint Eastwood style is a simple premise, but this is a dense and character-rich story. The two Jasons write a preamble to the book about their relationship with their birthplace, and I love the juxtaposition of how they describe it as beautiful and peaceful, yet remember it jarringly with the hate and the violence of redneck anger that's there. It's a serious but recommended read. Okay, and now on to Something Blue. And I've chosen Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky's Big Hard Sex Criminals. The title is definitely meant to grab your attention, and that it does. And here comes my watered-down summary, shall we say. The story follows our two heroes/anti-heroes, Susie and John, who each have a very special ability. At the point of climax, time freezes and they enter what becomes known as the Quiet. This allows them to run around while the rest of the world is frozen and do whatever they like. Until that is, they get the urge again, and suddenly everything just returns to normal. They both felt unique until a fluke sexual encounter between them made them realise that they could actually be together in the Quiet. The title refers to the next logical step someone would have with such an ability. They plan to rob a bank. This immediately grabs the attention of the sex police. Up front, I have to say that while it discusses sex and the sex industry, frankly, the comic itself is not explicit or gratuitous. It's actually a sex comedy with a very sweet heart at its centre. It is intended of mature, or shall we say immature, audiences still. Matt's writing is quirky and transitions between start, middle and end of story arcs frequently. But it's damn fine writing. We learn all about the character backgrounds and it builds up an interesting picture of them and shows all the awkward times of their origin story for both of them. It really was a fun and enjoyable read, and it needed the experienced writing talent of Matt to elevate the concept from being like a grade school humour sex-com, which I would hate, into being a well-constructed comedy about, albeit with rather unique superpowers. And Chip Zdarsky's artwork made it hit the bullseye. I was lucky enough to see Chip in action at last year's festival, and he is a force of nature. A real character in the comics world. You need to Google him seriously. He clearly differentiates between real world and the quiet by a kind of a trippy, washed-out colour version of the world around us. And it's one of those you pore over for the right reasons because there's so many jokey material stuff in the background. I think I missed so much of it. I was lucky enough to read an article which pointed me towards a lot of it. And the other thing is, yes, he does his own lettering. And yes, that really does impress me. Well, that's how I deal with a royal wedding. Till next time.
So we have with us Zoom Rockman, who is, I believe, the youngest person to appear in the Beano, and also the youngest person for Private Eye as well. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
So, easy question to start off. What comics did you grow up reading?
He's still growing up.
Well, when I was a lot younger, I used to read the Beano.
Yeah.
You had to say that.
Every week.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get out the newsagents when I was coming back from school.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I read The Walking Dead.
Simple, just that, or is there any others, or is it just The Walking Dead?
Walking Dead's the only regular one
Yeah.
that I keep reading. Yeah.
So I guess you enjoyed meeting Charlie Adlard last year then?
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, he drew me as a zombie with my skanky pigeon character on my shoulder pecking at me.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Is that in one of the comics?
Pardon?
Is that in one of the actual comics?
No.
He needs to do that. He needs to get you into the comic. We need to bombard him.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So what got you into creating comics then?
Well, I started my comic when I was 8, and it was after going to a car boot fair and finding a box full of old Beano comics.
Okay.
And I'd never actually seen a comic before. So I did a lot of writing and a lot of drawing, but I didn't know that you could put the two together.
Really?
So as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to have a go myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does that lead? Because let's be honest, being in the Beano at age 12 is something quite impressive. How does that lead to that, I suppose?
Okay, so I published my first comic, and I carried on doing it, and so I got into the local press, that kind of thing. And then it was the Beano's 70th anniversary, and because I'd already had this press, the BBC, when they were doing a documentary about this, they interviewed me at the Cartoon Museum as a young artist. But they also interviewed Mike Sterling, the editor of the Beano, and so he sent me an email asking me if I wanted a job.
Brilliant.
And obviously I said yes.
Well, yeah, you can't say no to that, can you? Let's be honest. No. So back then, I mean, was it Skanky Pigeon was your character back then, or do you have different characters?
I had a few characters, and I wasn't sure which one was going to be good for the Beano, but I had another character called Grandpa, who's big angry grandpa character. But I chose Skanky Pigeon because it's very marketable. Every country has pigeons in it, and they've been around for years and years. And they can also there's more variety in what you can do with a pigeon character because they can fly anywhere, and that's good when you have to come up with lots of short jokes.
So where do your ideas come from then? Is it from what you see out in the street, or?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of pigeons near where I live. They all live on my roof.
All of them?
Yeah, no, a lot. In fact, I think most of them do, actually. They all warm their bottoms on the chimney.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just get inspiration walking down the street and seeing, like, the kind of objects you get left on the street and how Skanky Pigeon could interact with them. And then turning that into a comic story. But, yeah, also what I did was I'd get a sketchbook and just draw Skanky Pigeon in funny situations and kind of work back from that.
Okay.
And build a strip around that. Yeah.
Okay. That's a way of doing it. Yeah. See, we're learning here. We're learning things. We're listening to what you're saying because we're learning. So what did your friends say about that then? I mean, that must have been quite impressive to say, I'm in the Beano.
The bragging rights.
Major bragging rights.
Yeah. Well, my friends now, they don't really read the Beano as like,
well,
you know,
no, not now.
Teenagers. But yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the people who really like are interested in that is when I go to do workshops at schools. And yeah, when they find out that I was doing the Beano when I was 12, that, you know, inspires them that they could do it.
Yeah, because you wouldn't think you'd have a chance, let's be honest. You wouldn't think they'd even look at a 12-year-old. So, amazing. So, you private eye at 16.
Yep.
Did you do anything in between those years as far as publications?
Well, I regularly brought out my comic.
Yeah. Quite, yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah, and I also had commissions and things.
Awesome. So how, bear in mind 16-year-old and private eye don't sort of go together.
No.
How did you get involved in that?
So what happened was my 12th comic, half of it was a Peter Cook and Dudley Moore sketch called What's the Worst Bloody Thing That Could Happen to You? And because Peter Cook used to edit Private Eye, I thought that might be a way to get my foot in the door. So I sent that to Ian Hislop, and then he sent me a letter saying that I could send stuff in, and if it was any good, then they might use it. And yes, I got one in the first time I submitted some stuff, and I've been in it quite regularly this year.
So I suppose the question is, I mean, again, at 16, I wouldn't think of, or even know of Private
Eye. That's why we're not.
So what is it that you like about it? What drew you in?
For like years and years, I've been watching Have I Got News for You?
Yeah.
Quality programme.
Yes.
So I did the Beano for 4 years, but then I felt like I needed to free up my time a bit, and also I was getting some of my cartoons were rejected because they were too old for their audience. And I needed somewhere to move to.
Yeah.
And then that just seemed like the next step, you know. And I do politics A level, so it's kind of something I was already interested in, you know.
I was going to ask about that because, again, my mind, I know your mind's probably the same. We don't work in that sort of political landscape. Our minds don't think. What is it that gets you going? Is it the news every day? Does that excite you? Does that make you think of ideas and jokes and comics, or is there other things as well?
Yeah, well, watching the news is definitely important when you want to do some satirical.
I mean, let's be honest, you just laugh at the news every day.
Yeah. The thing about Private Eye is it comes out every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to like not do anything for like a week and a bit, and then just look at the news that's relevant at the end of that.
Okay.
Because otherwise you'll do something at the beginning of that 2 weeks and it wouldn't be relevant anymore. Yeah. So you'd be wasting time if you did that kind of thing. Yeah. I always watch Andrew Marr's show on Sunday morning for ideas.
Bacon sandwich and Andrew Marr.
And a sketch pad.
Did you find that your work changed to be more satirical naturally throughout the years, or is it something you sort of focused on?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I still do. I always regularly watched Have I Got News for You? So I was always seeing the news, not really understanding it, but seeing the characters, like people like Boris Johnson. He was actually, I put him in my comic quite early, I think, as just a funny character, you know. Yeah, I've forgotten the question now.
So, I was just seeing how your satirical ideas developed through the years? You know, did it come naturally, or did you sort of force yourself in some ways?
No, my comics have always been based on what I'm interested in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like the comics led to me being interested in politics. It went the other way around. So.
You were in the Corbin comic book as well, were you? Was that right? The self-made hero one. Yeah, no, that was a good book. I enjoyed that. Yes. Really good. What are you wanting to achieve from this? What are you wanting to achieve from your work? Are you wanting to put across or make changes in some ways, or are you just wanting to entertain people? What would you like to see happen?
Well, I just want to have fun, make a bit of money.
We like it. We like this.
And make people laugh as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That is a nice answer, that. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're definitely not a politician. And that's a good thing. So I saw that you were at the Radio 1 Academy recently. Is that right? What was that all about?
It was kind of like a creative event, so for like young people.
Mm-hmm.
So they were running quite a few workshops there. And I was doing one of them, showing how to make a comic.
Okay.
It was actually the workshop that I usually do for primary school children. But, I was doing it for adults. But they were running other workshops there as well, like filmmaking. There were some people from the BFI there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was cool. I went to that workshop.
So, I mean, how did you get involved with that? Because how did they, get you involved? Because there's so many, I suppose, adults that could choose, but it's so good that they're choosing someone a lot younger to do that.
Yeah.
So how did they get you involved with that then?
People just get in touch. It's a bit weird. Like,
it just happens.
I do events.
Yeah.
And it kind of branches off. I'll meet people and then they'll just send me emails asking me if I want to do a certain job or something. So, yeah.
That sounds lovely.
Yes. If only life happened like that for everyone. That's amazing. But no, you've earned it, to be fair. Coming starting at such a young age is absolutely brilliant. So, to top it all off, you're now a patron for the Lex International Comic Art Festival. By far the youngest as well, we might add. In fact, we've not even said how old are you now.
I'm 17.
17. We didn't even say at the beginning.
In August, I'll be 18, so it's not long.
You'll be an adult then. Might be interesting. So what does that mean, being a festival patron to you?
It was something I was really happy to be asked to do, because the Lakes is, in my opinion, one of the best cartoon festivals in the country, possibly in the world.
Absolutely.
Correct answer.
Yep.
Yeah. Living in London, you don't get much fresh air as well. So, it's great to come over and have a sort of a mini holiday.
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it.
Yeah. No, that's
also, and the first time I went, I had no idea of Kendall mint cake.
Really?
Yeah. I've never had it before. And
okay.
Oh, did you try some?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's buzzing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how many times have you been so far then?
2.
Twice.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we
I had to miss one because it was my brother's bar mitzvah. So.
Brothers, just get in the way.
Yeah.
Always.
So you were telling us before you had some ideas or what is actually happening this year's festival that you're involved with. So go on, tell us again because it's hilarious.
Right. So it's going to be I'll be running a thing called Skanky Pigeon's Skanky Arcade, and Skanky Pigeon's a character that I said I did for the Beano for 4 years. So I've designed some arcade games to go there. One of them is going to be a fixed odds betting toilet, which is based on one of my private iCards.
I was just say I've heard this before and I'm still laughing.
I'm going to try and get a toilet, possibly from like a tip or something.
Oh.
And then just draw some gambling stuff on it, and basically people are going to chuck their money in and flush it away.
That's fine.
Another one's going to be a pinball machine, but with flapper pigeon wings. Another's going to be one of those grabbing machines that you have, but it's full of rubbish. And Skanky Pigeon's also working the grabbing machine like a crane. Hook a pigeon, hook a duck, and then also that classic coin pusher game. But the prize is going to be dead mice on sticky pants. They're not going to be real mice. They're going to be little Real like knitted ones. And also, hopefully, I can get some grey skanky candy floss as well.
I mean, they've done weird stuff at the festival before,
Yeah.
but this is up there. This is definitely up
That is
there.
definitely up there.
That was brilliant. Anything else? Is that sort of your main goal? Have you got any other ideas that's going on there at the moment? Or
That's kind of like the main thing.
that's the main thing. I mean, that is fair enough. That's probably a fair bit of work,
I
to
think
be
so.
honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they asked me if I wanted to do a panel discussion on Marvel versus DC,
Yes.
but I just decided that I didn't know enough about either of them. to actually do it.
To be fair, you don't need to know
considering
much
it.
other than if you like one character, that's it. That's your choice.
We just
Yeah,
go for that one.
that's it.
Well, I kind of only like Batman.
That's fine. Just do it. Batman's better than everyone. He wins.
Yeah.
Oh, quick random question. What do you think of the comic-based movies that are around at the moment? Have you been watching any of them? Do you enjoy them at all?
What, the kind of superhero?
Yeah. Any of the Marvel or DC. Well, not DC.
I don't really watch them, like Infinity War
Mhm.
was out, and I didn't really want to watch it, but I wanted to find out all the spoilers.
We just have to wait a week, to be fair, and then they're there.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I watched Black Panther, and that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's an amazing world we're living in at the minute because we've grown up. You haven't. This is to you. This is like life now, but we've grown up not having this.
Yes, that's
So
true.
it's great to have all these different movies out there at the moment. So if people want to get some of your work, where can they get hold of it?
Well, it's on sale on my website, www.thezoom.co.uk.
Yeah.
That's like the main place you can get it, but also when it comes to the legs,
Mhm.
I'll be selling my stuff as well.
Yeah. So you're gonna have a table again.
Yeah.
Excellent. So's Nikki.
I know, don't shush.
Brilliant. Oh, you're also on Twitter, aren't you, as well? If you want to see more
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Zoom comic.
Zoom comic. There we go. Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Also, another thing is, I've got an event coming up. It's Crouch End Comic Art Festival
Oh yeah.
on June the 9th. And it's actually in the middle of my A-levels.
Oh,
I'm
no.
going to
Jeez.
take a day off from revision. To
You can,
celebrate.
you can take your flashcards with you and everything. Try.
Yeah. It'd be really cool.
In between selling, sit there and do more
Yeah.
revision.
Do even.
It's all right.
Actually, have you got any more? Have you got any more this year before the lakes or?
Well, I'm resident artist at Simpsons in the Strand at the moment.
Right. Okay.
It's like this really old, posh restaurant in London.
Wow.
So
I
what
think
do
they
you
said
do
it's
there?
actually the second oldest restaurant in London. Oh, in the UK.
Wow.
So that's cool. They commissioned me to do 6 drawings of Winston Churchill
Okay.
sat at his table because he used to go there a lot.
Yeah.
He had this table in the corner of the restaurant so he could look out at the whole restaurant. I've finished that commission and hopefully they'll be using it on. Actually, they will be using it on menus and like merchandise and things.
Wow.
Oh, that's
That'd be really
brilliant.
cool.
Yeah.
And it will be on display at the bar as well.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I think they're waiting until I'm 18, so that's in August, until they do the proper like launch.
So you can have a drink.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it'll be at the bar, so
Yeah, you can be there then.
it'll be a bit bad if it's like the launch and I'm not allowed in.
So, will I be able to see those images online as well? I'm assuming somewhere because I'd love to see them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get down there,
No.
but I'd love to see those images.
I've got a blog on my website, and I'm probably it's very irregularly updated, so it might be up from there.
Worth
And
it.
also, it'll probably be on my Twitter and Instagram
Yeah.
as well.
Oh no, I'm looking for that. Would be cool to see them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just in terms of like events coming up,
Yeah.
Yes.
also there's the Asterix exhibition at the Jewish Museum in Camden.
Mhm.
So I'm actually one of their resident artists, and I'm going to be drawing people
Okay.
who are there, interacting with the exhibits and things. Yeah, and another really cool thing is I'm doing this thing with Lincoln University, their animation department,
Okay.
and I'm going to get some Skanky Pigeon strips animated. That'll be really cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
Yeah.
and I've also got a voice actor for Skanky Pigeon
Have you?
as well. Yeah, it's going to be a kind of East London sort of accent.
Jason Statham should be a...
It's going to be a hard pigeon.
Hard pigeon.
Hard pigeon.
That's impressive. I mean, your whole lineup is just amazing. You know,
Thank you.
and it for such a. I mean, I don't want to say young lad, but that's what the case is. For someone with so young to have achieved so much, but also to have such a bright future, because you've gone into a world where the adults are watching. It's a world that adults are going to buy stuff from. You know, you've got such a bright future ahead of you. To say, keep going.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And I look forward to seeing 5-10 years down the line
Yes.
where you're at, what you've created, and which magazine you're head of. It's brilliant. So thank you very much. We will see you in October.
Cool.
And you'll be 18, so we'll buy you a drink.
There you go.
Brilliant. And come to the Skanky Pigeon Arcade.
We will be there.
Definitely
There's no question. That's happening.
I want a dead mouse, you see.
Yeah. I have some grey candy floss as well.
I might pass on that one.
It will still be candy floss. It's just a different colour.
It's great. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's just a different colour.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust you. If I die, I'm haunting you.
As a pigeon.
Actually, my first idea for the candy floss was going to be like expanding foam or something. But that would actually kill you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God. Awesome.
It's probably best not to kill people.
Let's delete that bit out. Let's delete that bit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do. Welcome to Breakdowns, the comic art section of the podcast. My name's Pete Taylor. I'm a small press comics creator and illustrator. And the pod bosses have decreed that this month is a all-review special. So on today's episode, I have a very special guest, my youngest daughter, Nancy.
Hello, I'm Nancy. I love reading comics, watching films, TV shows. The comics I tend to read on a regular basis are Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Doom Patrol, Umbrella Academy, Batman, Lady Killer, and Weird Detective.
Yeah, we've read a lot of the same comics, and I've got you into some of my comics by lending you certain ones that I think are on your wavelength. So I think Umbrella Academy I lent you, didn't I?
Yeah, the very first time I'd heard of Gerard Way and that led down a slippery slope.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's why I lent it you, wasn't it? Because of the Gerard Way connection. And Doom Patrol, I think you were interested in that for the same reason. But so there's a certain kind of story that I know you're going to like. So today we're going to talk about 3 comics. The first comic I'm going to talk about is a new comic I got, I think it's a couple of weeks ago now. I've fallen into the trap of looking regularly on Kickstarter for comics, and that's led me to backing quite a few small press comics. And the first one I'm going to talk about today is called Debris by an artist called Alfie Gallagher. I mean, he's put it together, he run the Kickstarter, but the actual comic is made up of 5 different stories of very different genres. We've got some sci-fi in there, we've got some crime noir, got a bit of horror, and a bit of sort of teenage comedy at the end. They've got different writers, different creative teams, but the kind of glue holding it all together is Alfie's artwork. We've got Ryan Lindsay writing one, Lee Robson writing another, Martin Hayes and Fraser Campbell, with Alfie doing everything in the middle story called Wolves. And it's a lovely little package, 40 pages, full colour. Each story gives you a really different flavour, and the artwork reflects the needs of the story differently. There is a nice, sort of space vibe. I did think of Steranko when I was reading it, funnily enough, which Alfie mentions as an influence at the end. Then we move into the crime story, which is a bit more fluid and atmospheric. The colouring on that particular story is lovely. I really enjoyed all of the different stories. I thought it tied together well as a package. There did seem to be connections between them, whether that was just through Alfie's artwork. I mean, you had a flick through and a read, Nancy, didn't you? What did you think?
Yeah, I particularly liked the little short story at the end about the kids.
Yeah, that was probably my favourite as well, actually, to be honest. It's, I don't know, there was a bit of a kind of Edgar Wright flavour to it, and in some ways.
I know what you mean with the sort of hold up.
Yeah, but the dialogue, I laughed out loud, I think, a couple of times when I was reading that one.
The kids having to go at each other at the start reminded me of when I did my DFE.
Yes.
Because it's a series of threats.
Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed that. So glad I backed it. Well done to all involved.
And I got some badges out of it. So
which you kindly popped in the envelope. Do you know, I didn't realise they were in there till I tied in my desk, and then I took the envelope off my desk and was like, oh, hang on, there's still something in there. And really nice of him, he'd put some badges in there for me. So
cool,
thank you very much, Alfie. Debris and other of Alfie's comics are available online at etsy.com/shop/AlfieMan. Moving on to your choice, Nancy. What are you bringing to the table?
I'm bringing Bubba Hotep, written by Joshua Jabkuba, artist Tad Galusha, and the colorist is Ryan Hill. It's based on a film, which was based on a novella. I absolutely adored the movie starring Bruce Campbell. It was this mix of horror and comedy, and absolutely hysterical at times. And I saw it twice within a week and showed all my friends, and they all loved it too. But the comic is a prequel to the film.
Yeah, I think it quite cleverly places where it is in terms of the film, so it sets up what happens in the film almost a few years down the line. But I don't. Do we want to spoil the film, or I mean,
the premise is enough,
the film is Elvis Presley living in a nursing home
after being in a coma for numerous years.
Yeah, meeting
a man
who claims to be JFK. Fighting a mummy ultimately at the end of it. Yeah, so it is quite bizarre and bonkers. But this established that the real Elvis Presley was fighting monsters
way
before the film.
Yeah.
And before maybe cool. That, because we both haven't read the novella, we've watched the movie. So maybe the novella establishes the real Elvis Presley.
I know that in the novella, from seeing people talking about it on Tumblr, apparently there's a few other characters that got skipped out of the film. And I think someone believes that they were a famous actor or something.
We should mention the novella was written by Joe R. Lansdale, who is he's famous for writing what do they call it? Swamp noir. He's written a whole series of books about Hap and Leonard that have just been on Amazon. But he does have a kind of Western mentality to a lot of his books and comics, sort of deep South cowboy noir crime with, in this case, vampires.
Yeah.
So you, of course, knowing you loved it, I had to buy the comic when it was in the comic shop. So what's, compared to the movie, how does it
stands up very nicely because it has the similar feel with the character, and it's the art is so nice. Like on the first page, there's one of a homeless man drinking, and it's for some reason it just looks so cool, and the color is very sort of moody, very neon, which adds to the atmosphere essentially.
I think that's the secret of the power of that first page is the colouring is really well done, but
really sets it up nicely.
Yeah, it does pull you in. I read it and really enjoyed it and wanted to carry on. There was a little bit of maybe of a dip when they get into the exposition, and some of the backstory felt like it hadn't quite given me enough details of kind of how it was discovered, and
hopefully they'll cover that in the next issue.
Art great. There's some masks in the middle that are of famous people.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You can tell who each of the famous people is, which in a comic, doesn't always come across. But he's got likenesses for every single.
It's like a James Dean.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan.
That's Nixon.
Nixon, of course. Yeah.
And then the bottom you've got.
Hitler.
I'm thinking that's Hitler, and that's Michael Caine.
Yeah, and Alfie.
Yeah, so we kind of, I think that's set in the time as well. Oh, and also, I think, what is it, 5 pages in? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 pages in. Brain in a jar.
Yeah. Sets up a really good mystery.
Yeah.
Already you can see crates with chains, so that makes it seem like a lot more is to the story that meets the eye, sort of Indiana Jones-esque.
Some explanation of why Elvis carried on working with Colonel Tom Parker. I don't want to give that bit away, but it explains why Elvis perhaps did some of the things in his career that people were incredulous about, and you find out what did Colonel Tom Parker have over Elvis.
It's cool.
So to give it its full title,
Bubba Hotep and the Cosmic Bloodsuckers.
So I don't know if it's going to be probably it's not a continuing series. I would imagine it's going to be a mini series, so it's 5 to 6 issues.
Yeah, and hopefully there'll be a few more of those
but we're all in,
aren't we?
Yeah, very much enjoying this. I think actually Mike would enjoy this as well.
Mm.
Mike, who does Mike's Muttering on the podcast, I think it's probably up his street as well.
Yeah.
And last but not least, certainly not least, lucky enough today to receive my second Kickstarter comic that I backed. Arrived today, Nick Prolix's Slang Pictorial number 3. Which, if you see there, Nancy, what's that written in the front of the book?
Oh, this man, this Pete. What a
coincidence. Got my name in front of the book. So yeah, I backed this on Kickstarter, but that was a no-brainer. I'd already bought issues 1 and 2, which I really enjoyed. Issue 3 really takes the story on. The artwork is becoming, more and more compelling. The detail, I love the breaks. I love the space that he gives some of the story where we don't actually get any characters or dialogue, but we just get the surroundings. We might get some advertising hoardings or buildings, and it really is one of the best examples of world building, really, that I've come across. I think the way the characters come into scenes, they're very compelling. The dialogue's great. You get a real sense of place. When I read the first issue, it's kind of split into various stories within the same world. I know one of his influences is Love and Rockets, which I absolutely adore as well.
You can see the resemblance.
Yeah, and there's a feel of this all happening in the same world, and that the characters, there's a feeling that any of the characters could perhaps bump into any of the other characters,
just
which
familiarity.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one of the main stories called The Sheep and the Wolves, which I think has been serialized online. And it initially gave me a reminiscence of Look Back in Anger and Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, kind of early 60s kitchen sink drama. I mean, they were set up north, I think, or in the Midlands. And this is firmly set in a kind of made-up London suburb. But it's got this really cheery side to it. The characters, are doing sometimes perhaps mundane jobs, looking forward to getting to the pub later on. But there's also this, and I think it increases with number 3, there's a real sense of kind of impending doom, or there's a little bit of kind of tension there that that bad
With
things
the
can happen.
Yeah, with the women confronting their bosses about getting a pay rise. There's sort of a bit of tension between characters, and the woman in that story, I absolutely loved her nose.
Yes,
it was very cool.
Yeah,
it's sort of quite snobby, but there was this.
Yeah, Jimmy Angel, who's I think the main guy in The Sheep and the Wolves. That's his girlfriend. But yeah, it's just got a wonderful feel to it. Characters can, and like I say, can pop around. Scenes can end, but you just get this real sense of moving through the world, and it's certainly set in a period that doesn't get much play, certainly in many comics that I've read. So yeah, instantly pulled in.
Reminds me of Archie as well.
Yeah,
that sort of bubbly art.
Yeah, no, there's a real sort of the cartooning side of it is wonderful. It does some of the really good facial expressions, really good postures. So yeah, wonderful. Thumbs up on that. Looking forward to. I know I don't like it when people say it, but yeah, can't wait for number 4. I know number 3's just come out. And it looks great as well, doesn't it? As a set, there's a design element and quality to the look of the book. So
complementary colours as well,
Yeah, it's fab. So that's Slang Pictorial by Nick Prolix. That's available online. His website is thesheepandthewolves.com. And he's got links to his shops from that. That's Big Cartel and Etsy shops available. So yeah, go check him out. Okay, drop my pencil. So there we go. That's our reviews for what we're currently reading at the moment. And do you have anything on your pile? Honourable mentions at the end?
Ooh, well, I've got that massive stack in my room of comics that you've lent me of Kevin Smith's Daredevil, which I'm really interested in, and a few of the DC and Marvel mashups from around the 90s, I want to say. Yeah. It's Dark Claw and...
Oh, that's the amalgam. Yeah, that's the amalgam where Marvel and DC smashed together for a bit. That's right. It's
got so many of those, even... Punisher,
Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Punisher meets Archie comics.
Yeah, Wolverine mashed up with Batman. What do they call them?
Very fitting.
Dark Claw.
Because of the TV shows, both of them have come out recently.
No, they were fun. Yeah, they were great. Well, we're about to nip into town. It's a day late for Comic Day because of the bank holiday, but I am looking forward to picking up Love and Rockets, and Kill or Be Killed should be there waiting for me.
Hopefully Giles as
Giles
well.
For you, yep. Thanks for listening. You can follow me at thismanthispete on Instagram and Twitter. thismanthispete@gmail.com is my email address. And thismanthispete.com is my website. Nancy?
If you want to follow me on Instagram and Tumblr, it is Nancy Toxic.
Great. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
So festival news, it's been a bit quiet, but we have got the Art of Stransky,
yes,
which has been officially announced between the 12th and the of October and the 15th of November at the Wildman Gallery up here in Kendal.
Yep, down the road from me.
The Art of Stransky, which is Lorenzo Everington's exhibition on his work with Stransky, the 1940s opus.
I will definitely be there, and I'll be definitely nicking
You
the
leave
stuff.
the guys alone, please.
No.
They don't need you.
They do.
Hassling them.
They do.
Touching them.
I'm not going to touch
Leave them alone.
I'm just going to nick the art.
So go and check it out when
I'll just
when
put
it
little
launches.
stick men in place as I take the tool down. It'll be fine. Nobody will notice. Our house covered in lovely artwork.
As soon as we can, we'll see it near the time.
Yes.
Hopefully, launch night.
Yes.
Launch night. We like launch nights. So, no, looking forward for that happening.
Very much so.
So that's been it officially announced. What I'm going to say, though, we've heard things about the Friday night launch night. Now, I'm not going to talk about it.
My God.
But if you are considering coming to the festival and you're coming on the Friday,
please come to the Friday.
Get tickets.
Yes.
Because when people realise what's going on, it will sell out.
It will. We must get tickets.
We must get tickets. We've not got ours yet. It will sell out, and I can't wait to say what it is. But I'm not going to.
I know.
It sounds really good. I'm looking forward to that.
I know some of the people in it as well.
You've not even told me that. How is it you know more than me? I'm the one who gets all the information.
Yeah, but no. I delivered leaflets around town. I got inside information.
Oh, fair enough then. Oh. So I'm a volunteer. You're now an employee. Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is now. Yeah. Okay,
so Nicole.
Ian.
It's time to talk about you.
I was born in a...
So what's been happening with your comic? Because it's kind of...
Well, it's all taken off now, hasn't it, dear?
Yes, it has, dear. What do you mean by that, dear?
Nothing, dear. I mean, I just get phone calls out of the blue from the local newspaper yesterday. We don't even have a copy in our hands, and I'm already going off to an interview on Monday, taking my poor little original artwork with me to hold up because they're getting a photographer.
Sorry.
It's okay. I asked my hairdresser if she'd do my hair on the way.
So you're going for an interview.
I am.
Your comic is essentially complete.
It's off at the printers.
We'll have some copies next week, and then as long as we're
I'm waiting for my baby.
As long as we're happy, we can get them out.
Yes.
The comic should be available for digital download.
Yes.
The week this is coming out essentially.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, nickydraws.pictures. It will be available on there. And then print versions will follow soon after.
As soon as
once
we
we're
sort
happy
ourselves out, with that one.
Yeah, well done.
I've got a banner and everything.
You've got a banner.
I'm very excited.
You've got a comic banner display, which may or may not.
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
May or may not.
I have to
be selling books at Mac Powell. I've just got to persuade Nikki at the moment to do that. I mean, let's be honest. I've just done a comic called Anxiety Me. You don't even know the name of the comic. That's going to go well in this interview for the newspaper, isn't it? That's just like, so what podcast do you do? I'm in the Awesome Comic No, I'm not.
Shut up! It's because I was going to say that I'm an anxious person, you see. Anxiety Me. Oh, this isn't going to go well, is it?
No, go on.
No,
you were going to say.
I want to cry.
So what is your concern? And this is, I'm asking you this now because this will link to other people who are in this position who are creating comics and want to try and sell their work. So what are your concern about?
Do you know, the biggest concern is sitting there. Well, I'll stand. I'm throwing sweets at people to try and lure them over. Sweets on string, I thought. Okay. Drag it across the floor. Is that nobody will like it. Because I think it's such a personal thing, isn't it? I found this on this whole journey. It's such a personal... You're putting part of yourself out. And I think with this book being about anxiety, which I do suffer from, what a great thing to do. Let's go sell it and talk to strangers. That this is a part of your soul you're putting out there and hoping people like it. And therefore if they don't like it, they don't like you. That's how my brain's working on that one.
Okay, so let's just look at a message from Julie Tate, festival director, who is very honest about how she feels. Yes. You know, if she doesn't like something, she's said.
Or she just
and she knows she can tell us as well, in particular, that if something wasn't good enough. And she wouldn't be, and she has helped us along with this. She has supported you with this.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't do that if, first of all, what did she say? Let's have a look. She's created something really special. So that's a festival creator, a festival organiser.
Yes, I know, but it's still, you've still got to sell it to Joe Bloggs, haven't you?
And you've got to learn how to do that.
I know. Well, this interview on Monday, I'm going on my own. I can't even get the name of the comic right. I won't even know my name by the time I trip through the door. I was going to try and make an entrance, but I'm going to push the pool door. So, yeah. It's good. This is getting me out of my comfort zone, which is a good thing as well.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm incredibly nervous about putting part of myself out there for people to see.
There's a good chance you'll be able to buy print copies at Matt Powell, because I'm going to persuade Nikki to do this, because I can see now that she really doesn't want to because she's so scared.
I need to put them next to someone who will give me cuddles.
I'll be there.
Oh. Not the Etherington brothers.
Are they there?
I'm joking.
I think they are, aren't they?
What are they?
I might be wrong. But seriously, I'd like everyone to just check out your work, because it is beautiful. Your artwork is, Nikki.
Thank you.
The story is something that's needs to be understood for people to understand what.
I just want it to start
go through.
conversations, really. And if it helps a child or an adult talk to someone close to them and say, "Look, this is how I feel," then I've done it. And, yeah.
Something else that's happened since then as well is you've agreed to do a window for the festival.
Oh, yes! Oh, God, I need a bigger desk. Yes,
so,
I got browbeaten into that one as well.
So the Windows Trail, you've probably heard us talk about it. It is the whole town for the festival gets taken over, and shops and local businesses have their windows done up by artists, schools,
community centres, everything.
World famous artists, local artists, everything.
Me.
You, artist. This year the theme is either the Great War.
Yes.
Or the look at how, I can't think of what the actual topic itself is, but it's all about looking at women.
Yes.
And
changing perception, isn't
yes,
it?
that's it, changing perceptions. And you've gone for?
War.
What is it good for?
Absolutely not. I've gone for war because my lovely watercolour style that's cute and sweet will fit war lovely.
Yes.
Yes, I'm doing a massive war
as far as I'm aware,
picture.
if we think we're going where we're going.
Yes, if we get the one of the two that was offered to me, then I've gone for the bigger one because, hey, why not? Then I've brought the roll of paper. Then I've got a big one to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about, what is it, a metre and a half?
Fairly big.
It's quite big. So yes, I'm going to do the Battle of Verdun, which with horses.
With horses.
And dead people. Yeah,
so
it's not very...
We'll talk a bit more about that and the creation of that as we go along.
Yes, because I've got a few ideas, because I've already sketched it out, haven't I? But now we've had a different idea, and I'm thinking more, not collage-y, but
you've got to think a bit differently to what you just do on a piece of paper,
yes.
That's the thing. And open also, it up and look at what space you've got.
And also, with it being bigger, I've got to think of perspective better. And I've got it a little wrong with this first sketch.
And also, you've got to think of time. You can't... The way we're doing it is there's going to be a lot of copies of a particular thing. Rather than you just spending the time drawing that over and over again. You've got to think of that as well.
Yeah, so we're not cutting corners, but we're trying to think.
No, because it'll mean something,
yes,
actually.
It's more of a visual impact thing. So I've got to do that, and of course I'm starting my new comic.
Yes. Which is called...
We don't know.
No, we do know. I don't want to adult today, I thought we decided.
I don't want to adult today. Yes, you decided on that one.
No, I gave you the idea.
I'm not... Yes, which again...
Which you can give the basic premise of. It is a case of when you're an adult and it's changing hard or issues throughout your day into an imaginary...
Yeah, to get you through things. And there's obviously
just so somewhere you can put a unicorn in.
I just wanted to draw unicorns and fairy wings. Yeah. I really did.
So it's that. Well, don't say any more.
Okay.
It is that.
I was going to say, because it's not a light-hearted...
No, there's more to it.
I wanted to do a light-hearted one, and you've made me do another sad one.
But it's going to be a much bigger... It's going to be a proper comic in comparison to what you've done.
Yeah.
As in, it's going to be a lot of text, whereas Anxiety Me is more about the pictures and the imagery.
Because you can't put anxiety into words. So, yeah. Yeah, this one's scaring me. I've sketched out some ideas.
You're going to actually plan this one.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
the thing. You
Yes,
can't
dear.
just
He's such
go
a
with the
bully.
flow. You've got to think about this and plan this one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks, dear.
That's all right.
I really want to get onto it, but I've got to plan a bit better.
Yeah. So what's quite interesting is seeing how you've developed from not even being interested when we
I
started.
never thought I wanted to do a comic ever.
To just doing some rambling drawings, to us deciding to do something for the podcast, which has just gone by the wayside for the comic wise.
I've still got them all.
To you, I don't think it matters anymore.
Okay.
I think what you're doing is far more interesting.
Okay.
That was just sort of a give you a shot and a no, this is more interesting.
Okay.
I've created as of this coming week a printed comic.
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah, for something that I just sat in front of the telly and went, it just flowed into my brain and onto the paper.
There you go.
Can I use all of this in the interview on Monday?
Do you want us just to send this out to them?
Just send this to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
take the
that'd be
bit out
the
at the
easiest
front where I just didn't get the name right.
No, because
that's my brain. It just goes and stop.
So next episode, we've got, as long as it all goes to plan, Matt Garvey. Now, Matt Garvey is...
You are a fanboy of Matt Garvey.
No, I love Matt Garvey's work.
You love him. You want to hug him. You want to kiss him.
Matt is from when we sort of started following artists.
Love you.
Shut it. It seems to do the most in publicising his work. The way he talks about how to stand behind a table and sell, and he talks about the excitement of that and the joy of that. And I think it'll be useful, one, for us to interview him and find out about him, but also for you and for anyone else to understand how you need to go about selling your works and just get on with it and enjoy it, you know. I mean, he puts up on Twitter how many he's sold.
Oh, he's
done well, or he hasn't done that well this time. Why has he not done that well this time? You know, and he looks at it as a proper business model as opposed to taking things personally, which I know you will do.
I
to
will
start
do.
with.
Yes.
Which you can't do. You shouldn't do.
I know. Yeah, but like I just said, it's part of you're putting out there. Especially with your first one, I think. I think when you've got a few more behind your belt.
I can understand taking it personally if someone says, "Oh, that's rubbish." That you can take personally.
I'll probably laugh.
But having sales or no sales is not, in a business related terms, isn't something you should take personally. It's you look at that and say, right, well, what do I need to do? Because I know my book is good to sell more copies. That's what it comes down to. It's not about whether it's, you know, worth it or not. It's how do I do this? And that's a challenge. And I think it'd be really interesting to chat to him about that. So that'll be out on time next episode.
Oh, it's been so busy this week.
I know it has. So check out nickydraws.pictures.
That'd be me.
For the digital copy. Print copies will be up soon. We're not sure on the price yet. It'll be £3 or £4. It won't be expensive.
Oh, no.
We want people to read it and look at it and have a nosy. The
change.
digital copy will be a couple of quid. It won't be much.
Yeah.
We want you to look at it. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
We'll be back in the middle of the month.
Woo.
See you then.
Thank you for listening. Find out more about the festival at comicartfestival.com. Find out more about the show and how to contact us at comicartpodcast.uk. Find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Music composed by Pop Noir.
This podcast is part of Britpod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritpodScene.com or Britpod Scene on Twitter to find out more.